You know, I think a lot of people underestimate just how big a difference it makes now that this show is actually being structured and paced competently. You know, when the spoilers came out, I didn't think this show looked like anything special, and in execution it probably could have come off better, but just the fact that it was laid out by someone who's actually using their head made it pretty enjoyable regardless. And there were some problems, sure. You know, for example, a little too much wasted time here. You know, that whole thing with Bully Ray and Steiner trying to bring Abyss back into Immortal by getting him laid by these two floozies was just dumb and pointless, and it didn't seem to go anywhere. The Gunner segment went on too long when they could have done something similar and more effective in much less time, and I still don't get this Garrett Bischoff thing at all, but I've already been over that. And then there was all the video packages. And basically most of the show revolved around Bobby Roode, and all night long we're seeing these videos of how he's turned into this selfish prick, ignoring his family and all that stuff. It was really good to see the production team going that extra mile to help get this guy over. The problem is, they really didn't have enough material. And they played a lot of these things throughout the night, but it was mostly just the same clips being repeated several times over. And I appreciate the effort, don't get me wrong. I think it's great that they're behind Roode this much. And the videos were well done, but they started feeling a little redundant towards the end there when we were seeing the same interview with Roode's wife like 3 times. I mean, they really didn't have enough footage to warrant that many videos, and they kind of started to feel like padding, but, well, hell, at least it was good padding. So all these videos were leading up to the main event that Sting made with Roode versus AJ versus Jeff Hardy. It was a nice match and it got a fair amount of time, like 15 minutes. We've been getting longer TV main events lately, and that's great. But the ending was kind of a WTF moment, and I didn't have a problem with the way it ended so much as what happened after. Sting warned Jeff Jarrett not to interfere in this match or there would be consequences. But Jarrett interferes in the match anyway. He screws Hardy, allows Roode to get the pin on him. Then Sting comes out and books Jarrett versus Hardy at the pay-per-view with Hardy's career on the line. So instead of punishing Jarrett, Sting books him in a match where if Jarrett wins, he gets exactly what he wants. What? I know there's something in this for Jeff Hardy too, but why on earth would Sting make that stipulation in the first place? He's under no obligation to put Hardy's career at stake. All things considered, this match feels more like a punishment for Hardy than anything else, and he's the one who's got something to lose here. And while I'm on the subject, they need to rethink how they're handling this feud. Because after hearing what both guys have to say about this, honestly, I'm with Jarrett on this one. I mean, Jarrett's position is, after what he did at Victory Road, that should have been it for him. Yeah, how many chances will this guy get to embarrass this company? And you know what? That's a damn good point. This is a post-Scott Hall world this company is living in, and they haven't given us a real reason to root for Jeff Hardy in this situation because, realistically, he has no argument. He's getting another chance when it's questionable whether or not he even deserves one. He just came back not that long ago, and he's already being reinserted into the main event scene without really having to do anything to earn it, or even having to prove that he can be trusted not to screw up again. And now, all of a sudden, he's getting chances to win world title shots on top of that? Already? Just like that? No wonder Jarrett's pissed off. If you wanted to do a redemption storyline with Jeff Hardy, you're missing a bunch of steps here. You know, personally, I don't see any reason why I should root for Hardy to win that match other than the fact that he's the face and Jarrett's the heel. And I don't like Jeff Hardy at any rate, so unfortunately for him, that's just not enough. So this feud and the way that match happened are both kind of messed up. But still, I did get a good laugh when Sting called Karen Jeff Jarrett's husband. I mean, that should be pretty obvious by now, because, you know.
I've got the biggest set here!
The stuff with the knockouts was another thing I had to kind of take issue with. Having them wash cars in bikinis? Really? I let the lingerie match slide because it didn't feel gratuitous. This felt a little gratuitous. I see why they're doing this stuff, but I just don't agree with it. I mean, this is all being done to put heat on Karen Jarrett. Well, first of all, Karen doesn't need heat. She's already got plenty. Second, there are a lot of ways that you can make Karen look like a tyrant without going down this road. When you have the women doing the blatant tits and ass stuff, you're kind of spitting in the face of what this division was supposed to be all about in principle. And yeah, I know that's the whole point, in part to make Gail Kim out to be this giant hypocrite, but for me, this feels like it's getting a little, I don't want to say sleazy, because that's not the right word, but I just don't like this road they're on. If it's building up to Karen getting her comeuppance eventually, then let's get there already. Now, on the other side of that coin, they did have Mickey versus ODB in a street fight. And this was a good match. Hell, compared to some of the Diva matches on Raw and SmackDown recently, this was pure gold. And it had a clean finish too, and the novelty of that is not going to wear off anytime soon. The gimmick wasn't really necessary, but if they're going to go to one extreme, I guess they kind of had to go to the other one to balance things out. That said, I really couldn't care less about ODB at this point. I think her shtick was played out a long time ago, and I'd like to see a little more interaction between Gail and Mickey before the pay-per-view, and a little less focus on Karen, because she does tend to dominate things too much. I mean, even Gail seems to fade into the background when Karen's there, and that's not the way it should be. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the James Storm satellite interview that Kurt Angle horned in on. It was pretty brief, but still some nice interaction between those two. They play off each other really well, and no offense to Bobby Roode, but this Storm-Angle feud is the best thing on this show right now, in my opinion. In fact, maybe that's why I wasn't as crazy about this episode as some of the recent ones. Not enough James Storm. There was a tag team #1 contenders match with Inc., Mexican America, and Pope and Devon. Once again, the British invasion were nowhere to be seen, and I don't understand that for the life of me. I mean, considering the state of the tag team division, why wouldn't you want to use them? I mean, they're pretty easily the best team you've got to work with right now that's not just two singles guys thrown together.
You people are fools!
I mean, they seriously must have heat with someone. They must have pissed somebody off, because I can't come up with any other reason why they're not on TV right now. The match wasn't much to talk about. Pope and Devon win the title shot. Really don't care about that at all. The matchup doesn't interest me, and I don't think it's even going to be about the tag titles. And judging by the spoilers, it'll probably just be a way for them to turn to the next chapter in this Pope-Devon thing. Problem is, I don't think anyone really cares about that. I sure don't.
This whole show is ridiculous!
Austin Aries cut a nice promo, and Kid Cash came out to confront him. I like this a lot. It's an X-Division match being hyped up with talking promos, which, as I've said previously, there's a severe lack of most of the time. I don't think Cash is incredible on the microphone or anything, but Aries was great here. And this was a good segment, and I think the match will be just fine. I'm just kind of wondering why they're doing it. When you've got several baby faces that you could put in there instead, like Alex Shelley, for example, why are you doing Aries versus Cash, who is the only other X-Division heel that you've bothered to establish? I don't see what that match is going to accomplish, aside from maybe turning someone face, and with either one of them, I think that would be the wrong move right now. Aries is way too good as the top heel to start tampering with that. But if you do heel versus heel, the fans are probably just going to cheer for the guy who's more entertaining, and I don't see Cash being that guy. Maybe I'm wrong, but this just seems kind of ill-advised to me. Should be a good match, though. Then there was a TV title match with Robbie E versus Rob Van Dam.
Oh shit! It's Russo! What the hell is this all about?
Ugh. God. Interference from Rob Terry, interference from Eric Young, interference from Christopher Daniels, and the match wasn't even any good either. Once again, Robbie did nothing here. Van Dam had to do all the work. And let me ask you guys something. Have you noticed that with Robbie's title reign so far, all his matches are essentially the same? The opponent kicks his ass, he gets in little to no offense, and then only wins due to some fluke or outside interference? Yeah, he's winning matches, but he's not winning in any way that makes him look good. This is because they know his work is crap. They're limiting his offense because his offense is boring as hell. That's why his opponents have to carry the action every time. In fact, with the way this has been booked so far, I'm starting to think that Robbie winning the TV title had very little to do with him and more to do with just giving Eric Young a feud. And yeah, I do expect Eric will be winning the title back at some point, unless they go in some new direction, maybe bring Van Dam and Daniels into this. Eric has been protected in this feud so far, whereas outside of winning the title, Robbie's pretty much getting embarrassed at every turn, which makes this whole push kind of pointless. This guy is complete garbage. The one saving grace is that Rob Terry stays out of the ring and doesn't do much most of the time, but he shouldn't even be out there in the first place.
Nobody cares about you guys.
And that was this week. There were some good things and some bad things. Not a spectacular show, but the pacing was tight and they didn't spend too much time on the bad stuff. I think most of my distaste just stems from them using this show to focus more on the storylines that I just don't like. And that's going to happen from time to time if they're shifting focus between feuds periodically. It might not be a perfect system, but it beats the hell out of them trying to cram everything into one show like Russo did. And even the shows that aren't that great are more enjoyable now just because they don't make me want to bash my head against the wall nearly as much. So that's going to be it for now. And just so you guys know, I may not be very punctual over the next few weeks. There's some rough stuff happening in my life at the moment, and I don't know how it's going to turn out. But, there could be a difficult period coming up. Well, it's already difficult, but I don't really want to talk about it right now. So, if I miss a video or if I'm late on something, that's why. So anyway, you guys take care. I'll see you when I see you. Later.